So today at the race, there was a confrontation. This was about a video that I posted last Tuesday and about the way that I portrayed someone. And I'm sorry. I hear you. I take the feedback on board. I was too personal and I apologise for that. It was wrong. I have always wanted these videos to be a way to promote the local crit scene, and I think I had two videos that had done quite well with me taking the piss out of myself and others, and I lent into that too hard and I was wrong, and I apologise to everyone and anyone that I've upset with any of the stuff that I've ever done. I will do better in the future. I thought about not doing the videos again. I was a bit disheartened, but I want to keep helping grow the local crit scene, and I have received a lot of positive feedback about these videos, and so I will put the feedback into practice, and I hope that in the future I can do better. I will still be taking the piss ruthlessly out of myself, but I am going to focus on building up others instead of maybe breaking them down. So yeah, thank you for coming up to me. Thank you for letting me know. And without further ado, here's How to Lose a Crit Race, episode 4. Okay. Hello and welcome to another episode of How to Lose a Crit Race, and this is episode 4. So today we're going to lose a crit race. This series is where you learn what not to do by watching what I do, and in the teaching world we call this game modelling. In the cycling game we call it being a dickhead. However you choose to label it, you're in for a treat. Some context for this race as we roll out here at what starts at quite a gentlemanly pace, really. This is Penrith Cycling Club's pudding race. It comes around every year, and it is sort of almost the last race of the cycling season. Some people are racing Waratahs this Sunday, and I might try and see if I can get lucky and get in there also, but it just kind of depends on how this week pans out with the family. The winner of this race for each grade, so all the way up from D to A grade, gets a pudding, hence the name, and a bottle of wine, which is not too much good for me, seeing as I don't drink. And I don't actually rate Christmas pudding. So for me, the pudding is really just pride. But I'm not going to get anywhere close to that pudding. Although actually that's technically incorrect. One bloke did leave one hanging around, and I reckon I could have pinched it and ridden off. But yeah, I'm a nice dude, so I didn't do that. So it's the last race before Christmas, and as a result, there's a reasonable B grade field, probably 15 of us, I reckon, all up, and some would be familiar faces. If you watched some of these races before, you would be familiar with some of these dudes. However, number 15 here, this is Mark. We're going to introduce you to Mark, who is part of my local bunch. So I know Mark quite well. I know him as a rider, and I know him as an absolute demon. He's new to crit racing, but he's done a lot of mountain bike racing. So I guess you'd probably say he's new to road crit racing, because my understanding, rudimentary as it is that there is mountain bike crit racing as well. So Mark's power is insane, but Mark is learning the ropes of crit racing. He's still sort of getting his handle on it. So keep an eye on him though over this series, because I think the more you see Mark, the further up the placings you're going to see him. I have sat on the front of our Saturday bunch with him, and he is an absolute beast. So we're coming in the S-bend section, and this series of attacks as there always is in this section. It is a good place to try and split the bunch because it is a little bit technical. So if you're out the front and you're by yourself, you are sort of in a good position to put some power down and get away from the people that maybe can't get the best lines because they are, I guess, fighting for those lines with other people. And, oh, whoa, hang on, what's this? It's me bringing back a split. If you thought I was going to change in this episode, I don't. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. However, my attacks are measured here. But what you see is that there are two guys off the front. Or I think at this point it's three guys just looking off in the distance. And the person that you're really going to watch in this race is number 49 there. That is Nick Johns. Nick Johns is a good mate of mine. I used to run Phoenix Cycling Store in Oatley and now runs, I think it's Nowra Cycles. So he has travelled a long way for a little slice of the pudding action. And we brought Nick up last week with Ballas, if you remember. And Nick is going to have a crack very soon. And he is sort of my guide for attacks. If Nick goes, he's been racing a long time. He's raced at a very high level. He's a significantly better racer than me. And here he goes. He's off. So if Nick goes, generally I go. And yeah, here we are off the front, having a crack. And you can see we get a bit of a split here. So I'm on Nick's wheel here. And I actually thought I'd done it. I thought I'd picked the move. I was really excited. I thought, go Burgess. Sitting on Nick, he's a bigger unit than I, not by much, but he is. So I get a decent draft out of the lad, and he gives the flick of the elbow here. And if I had the rear camera going, I would have seen that just as he does that elbow flick, the group's come back. So this is a bit futile, but here I am pulling back another attack. So over the last few races, you would have seen me being quite critical of my racing. And I've said often, like, this isn't the move. I've questioned why I'm pulling back moves, and I've been sort of, in short, a bit of an idiot when it comes to chasing, doing way more work than my ability, fitness, power level warrants. And this led to some tired legs, and I've done it again here. I've chased Nick down. Probably should have let someone else do it. Nick flicks the elbow, and of course, me being me, I don't know whether it's hubris, call it what you want, dickheadery. I've chased this group back, and again, that's a few matches gone. So there is merit to chasing this group down. The people in here are super strong. You may remember Camden CC featured in the video last week. I was calling him Marconi CC at the time. There's a really strong junior rider in number 8 there also. So there is definitely merit in chasing this down. But again, maybe I should have let someone else do it. And I'm learning these lessons as I go, and I start to learn it. One thing I'm really proud of in this race is that I do learn it. But you could also argue that in this race, I overlearn it, and that's going to come back and bite me in the ass in a little bit. So we're going to fast forward here. And as you can see, the race has just sort of entered a bit of an ebb and flow state. Nothing crazy's going on here, but pay attention to Penrith CC over my right shoulder, the Joker, because again, he's going to feature because he is the Joker. And one thing I have learned about him is he is an absolute demon. Super modest guy too. I had a chat to him about his racing at the end of this race, and he sort of is under the impression that he's not as strong as he clearly is. But anyway, you see a bit of a split here, and I'm proud of myself here because I take that back, because here I am going to try and pull that brake back. You would have thought I'd change. You would have thought I'm a changed man, but joke's on you. So yeah, it's your boy pulling back. And again, let me remind you at this point that 3 races ago I was in C grade and I never won a C grade race. Put myself up into B because I wanted to race with my friends. So here I am pulling back an attack, and this is vital, absolutely vital, because I fundamentally believe that it is at this point that I lose the race. As we come through the S-bends here, I am almost back on the group. That number 22 there, that is my mate Hayden. He's going to be my Nurse Joy. If you're familiar with Pokemon, he is going to revive me a few times in this race. Pay attention to number 22. Absolute legend, real champion. But yeah, anyway, here I am mixing it up with the boys. And I'm desperately trying to get onto Hayden's wheel. And you'll see my heart rate's in the 180s. And on the top right, you'll see the Joker, Ken and CC, and Nick are about to go. In fact, I'll just peel to the left here and you'll see that they're gone. There goes the Joker and there goes Ken and CC, and that is Nick on the wheel. And yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, I've just come back. I've just put in a bit of an effort here. I'm not going. Why would I? This has been the lesson that I've been trying to learn. Let someone else do it. Number 18 pulls over. We have a little bit of a chit chat. Sort of a, are you going to go? I'm gassed. I ain't going to go. But you know, surely someone else will do it. I don't want to do the work. And it seems that no one else wants to do the work for me. You can see just riding next to each other. And I'm not putting out crazy watts at this point. I'm sort of sitting zone 3, zone 4. And yeah, that's the race. I tried to do it right, ladies and gents. I tried to let other people do the work. You'll see Hayden, pretty sure it's Hayden, number 22, is about to pass and try and do his best. And you'll see that, you know, he's no slouch here. I'm sitting on his wheel and I'm holding 300 plus watts. This is a solid shift. You watch my watts here at second wheel and tell me that, I'm pretty sure that's Hayden. Tell me that he's not putting in an absolute beast of an effort here. But it's just not enough. The trio, that holy trinity that has got away, Nick, Camden and the Joker, will just never pull him back. And I mean, Hayden's going so hard here that I drop his wheel, and you can see that behind me there's a bit of a gap between us and the main group. You know, there's Mark at the very back there, and then there's a split. Hayden flicks the elbow here, and of course, being me, I think, you know what? Yeah, that's me. But again, at this point, I think you could be critical of yourself here, but also, I don't think I necessarily do anything wrong. I'm frustrated by this because I feel like I've pulled myself back. Maybe I've overlearned the lesson, but it is super frustrating when I probably could have gone with that move, but didn't. Missed the jump, and for the rest of the race, I'm basically just desperately hanging on here as sort of an incohesive group just take shots at trying to pull that back. And that's pretty much the race lost in the second lap. I actually feel like I raced this one pretty well. I think, as we see Mark going on the right here, I think you could be quite, you know, you can be overcritical of yourself sometimes. And for the most part, I think hanging on here, my average watts was 252 at the end of this race. It's no slouch, and I'm proud of the fact that I was able to hang on, but I'm also frustrated because having a look at Nick's watts, who ended up winning, his average was 256. So only 4 watts average stronger than me. Now, obviously, average watts are not an accurate measure, but, you know, it just shows that it's just about picking those right moves, and I'm just not there yet. Anyway, it's how it goes sometimes, and we are going to fast forward quite a bit because really, at this point, the race is over, and I just want to highlight some points where I kind of stuff up. So we might just let the music roll for a little bit and jump forward quite a bit in time. All right, so this... Okay, so as we come around here, it's an interesting part in the Penrith track where it goes from a road to essentially a footpath, and things narrow quite a bit here, which means it's a little bit of a sketchy section. But here I'm about to try and move up. Mark's been saying rolling turns, but he thinks that he needs to follow that wheel, and as a result, I kind of get squeezed here, and I'm getting a bit bored, so I decided I'm taking things off-road a little bit here. Now, I don't know about you, I think that's pretty hectic. Just straight back on, no positions lost. I was pretty proud of keeping it up there. Again, no one's fault. It's just how it goes with racing. But yeah, I sort of ran out of road there, and it's a bit of an embankment down, so that was a bit dicey. That got the blood pumping a little bit, and the result is that I'm now off the front again. Because yeah, I'll never change, baby. Things almost come a cropper for me in the lead up here. So as you see, saw the bunch going through, and we're coming up to those infamous S-bends. Now, as I've said, it's a bit of a technical section. It's a point where you can attack, but it's also a point where if you take them well, you can gain a few spots. And I'm going to try and do that. As you'll see, I'm fading a little bit here as I play with the rear camera, and I've dropped number 4's wheel there. Now I'm going to try and catch up some of that time by, I guess, getting a little bit cute by halves here. So you see I take this corner on the inside of Bumblebee, being yellow and black, and I don't think does anything wrong. He holds his line. I've just tried to squeeze through a gap that maybe wasn't there, and yeah, my rear wheel almost went out there. It doesn't look as bad on the footage, but yeah, we might just replay that so you can hear the audio of people thinking I actually was going to go down there. So yeah. And again, at this point, there's not much really to tell. There's not much of a narrative aside from the fact that I'm racing relatively well. I'm not being stupid. I'm sitting in here. What is it? Sit in, shit in, I think was something that someone told me. So yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I'm doing here. And like I said, I walk away from this and I'm not particularly disappointed in the way that I raced. It's just, unfortunately, sometimes a breakaway goes, and you see that in all levels of racing. So like I said, I think I could be overly critical of myself here, and there are some stupid things that I do in this race, as there always is, but overall, I'm actually not disappointed. So I'm happy to walk away being able to say that. Through the bit where Mark tells me, Aiden, don't be a dickhead, literally, but I just block him out and go, because if you've been paying attention, you'll know this. I'm a dickhead through and through. Now, I was never winning this race, or at least not since the second lap, and let's be real, probably don't have the legs to win anyway, unless something catastrophic were to happen. You wouldn't want that at all. I think overall, though, I raced a better race here, and I think there is a world where that break doesn't go away and my smarter riding yields results. Again, I think you can overlearn from some results, and I think I've raced a tactically smart race here, superior to what I've done in the past, and it just doesn't get the outcome that I was hoping. But at the same time, I finished a B-grade race mid-pack. I feel like I was able to contribute to the race without over-contributing, and I feel like my sprint here is not bad. I think I've entered the sprint a bit too soon and not on the wheels. I was kind of hoping Mark would hold there. As you can see, him dropping an absolute watt bomb, and me realising that, as you can see in the rear, no one's anywhere near me, and I'm not getting anywhere near those guys at the front. But what you're seeing, I think, is some growth. Can I sustain the growth? Well, only time will tell, but I'm pretty proud of how I raced today. So thanks Penrith for the race, thanks to my mates, and subscribe.